Greg time. It's Greg time. New Greg. New Greg just dropped. This Greg is a crop circle Greg, which, I mean, who knows which way he could go on crop circles. He only spent 39 minutes talking about the crop circle riddle solved. This is part of the History is a Lie series, so you know it's going to be unhinged. He's just totally lost it. I hope he believes in crop circles, dude. Crop circles are a phenomenon that has been routinely debunked for years and years. It's just folks with boards and making circles. You know? They look cool. Alrighty. Let's see. What's the riddle? The riddle is some guys made some crop circles. Grogery.
I hate crop circles. Crop circles make me angry.
Wait, why? Okay, I have to understand. Do you shape it this way, or is it just how it grows? Does he cut a channel? Does he cut a channel? Like, you know, if it just happens, I don't know. My beard's probably doing some shit right here. I don't know, like this thing right here, you know. But it's not like, I'm not doing it on purpose. Are you doing like a Satan thing on purpose? Like a, is this, like a video game elf? It's not natural? Okay. I think you have to move all the way into the aesthetic if you're going to do this. I think you got to like fucking eyeliner and like thumb rings and necklaces and do Satan shit. Get this bullshit out of here. Give me some fucking Satan. More attracted by the loose mannequin. No, this is sexy. He pulled this out before recording on purpose. There's B-roll of him pulling this single set of strands out. Here, hold on, wait. We gotta match it. We have to be sexy too, chat. Let's do it. Wait, I don't know. What we got? Fucking there. Ooh, I see one. I see a nice. Yeah, you see it? See the potential there? The sexy potential. This is exactly what it's like to be Greg before a video. Ooh. I can't do it. I'm just not skilled enough. It's too late for me. I just look disheveled. Greg, 1 point for Greg. There you go. It's already happening. I can't do it.
It frustrates me to see people celebrate
there you go.
Crop circles and treat them like some sort of a miracle from the stars.
This would drive me fucking crazy. He keeps doing these hand things. Like, him and June do this, and they haven't stopped doing this thing, and it's a gesticulation that I think they developed together in the relationship, and they both do this thing. It's definitely millennial YouTuber stuff, and I don't know how to break it out of them. It's like Vines, but bad. Peter from Spider-Man 3 doing that? Hell yeah. That's the cool one.
Crop circles represent the most evil people on this planet. I finally understood this while reading a book celebrating crop circles. And when I finally realized what I had in my hand, it made me feel sick. I literally had to throw the book away.
That was a lot of Fry. I literally had to throw the book away. Okay.
There feels something very benevolent about crop circles. I don't sense anything of evil intent, and it would seem to me a strange thing to do. Just kind of make these beautiful patterns if you wanted to scare anybody. If they are evil, well, they're too beautiful, it seems to me.
Yes, crop circles are not designed to scare us. That would be silly. They're simply artistic depictions of mathematical and scientific principles. But that doesn't mean that crop circles aren't malevolent.
No. He doesn't. No. Stop. So this is scientific principles they're not just shapes. They're not just dudes doing shapes in crops. This is just dudes doing shapes and crops, by the way. Pretty cool, man.
And unlike everything else I talk about on this channel, crop circles are real, right? I've talked about ghosts before, but spirits might not be real. I've talked about UFOs in the past, but there's no such thing as aliens. Bigfoot? That could just be hoaxers in the woods stamping footprints in the soil with wood cutouts for all I know. But crop circles are real. Crop circles are not a hoax.
But, wait. What, man? How is Bigfoot's foot being stamped in the mud different from this?
Well, not most of them at least. I will prove the crop circles are real in this video, I promise you. But the crop circles themselves are only half the story.
Like real? Like that they are... that crops are pressed into circles is real, yes. I would love to see in one of these videos talking about the mysteries of crop circles, and we get to see the vandals in the background of the interview rolling a bale of hay, making the circle, right? Some of the stalks are only bent, Jake. You shut up. He better not, dude.
After I explain how crop circles are made, it will reveal a very uncomfortable truth about the secrets that our governments keep. There are a lot of theories as to what crop circles could be.
Many think, there's an intelligence behind them. They think they're made by aliens or extra-dimensionals. It may well be that we are being visited by other intelligences and...
Other intelligences? Just fucking people, man. Why? Why is it so hard for these people to understand it's people?
Maybe they feel like leaving some graffiti in the fields, or maybe it's they're trying to very gently make people aware of them in a way that doesn't create fear. But there are many, many other theories, some very strange, some religious, some you would never even imagine.
Well, I have a theory that clearly nobody imagined. Crop circles do not represent whimsical fairy magic. Crop circles are not fun, cute alien novelties. Crop circles are created by the most powerful people on Earth, and they use them to mock us and celebrate their evil religion. And
what, man? What? What? Hold on, dude. I need to catch up.
Go.
What are you doing, bro? This rocks. Iron Color. This fucking rocks, dude. They made by the Green Man's etch and he's wearing the green shirt today. Oh. Drunk rednecks are the most powerful people on Earth. It's crazy. We have had, in my community growing up, I come from a farming community, there were crop circles every once in a while, and it was always kids. It was always people just wanting to make art in the fields, and they thought it was cool. Yeah, dude, he's always posing. It's such... Like, I understand that there's a degree of performance with a YouTube video or whatever. Sure. I'm fine with gesticulations and stuff. But it's like, he does this thing, and it's just so inorganic. It just makes him feel fake as fuck, which, of course, Greg is very fake.
it's all part of some game they're playing. In this video, I'm going to teach you a little bit about how this crop circle technology probably works.
Yeah, man.
As well as a little...
I'm glad I smoked 3 dabs.
blood.
3 dabs before this shit? Goodness. I could take one, though.
Bit of the history of crop circles. And before I get started, remember these videos are just for fun. Don't take them too seriously. You know me, I like to just give my unique spin on these stories. So...
Bro. Greg. You can't just lampshade behind that all the time. He'll start the video with, it's just fun, and by the end of it, he's having a fucking breakdown and talking to you about, like, how he's trying to get this information out to help save lives before the fucking electromagnetosphere betrays us and Green Man saves us. He's saying that because Vice Rhino also called him out on the moon landing. Because the moon landing video was so fucking stupid. These are just for fun, man. Shut up.
What the hell are crop circles?
Dude, if you're armored skeptic, then going about it skeptically is good. But you're not.
Today, farmers can hire companies to help them design a complex corn maze in their fields using what they call a GPS stencil. With the assistance of GPS, the farmer can follow a predetermined path to draw a complex artistic design in their crops. But the company who started this said that they were hesitant to use GPS at first, even in the early 2010s, because GPS wasn't really that reliable or accurate even back then. Today, GPS is accurate enough that we use it in construction sites to ensure accuracy with large projects. But
I forget he says projects every time. I've never heard another Canadian say projects.
But this latest generation of complex crop circles started popping up in the late 1970s, becoming prominent in the 1990s, long before the average person ever had access to a personal GPS device.
Dude, it's crazy that you think it takes a GPS to do this. You can see the center point and that they walked around radially. Like, you can just see. You can see it. What if we just did one here and then one here and then one here and then one here? Like, all it takes is someone planning this. Human beings are capable of art, guys. It would help to have a stake too, but you could also just have a friend to hold the rope. Yeah. Seriously, the Nazca lines oh no, dude, he thinks the Nazca lines are fucking... You don't know the Nazca lines are. Is that how you spell it, actually? It is. Nazca lines are... these features you've probably seen, like the spider and stuff. The one I think of is the beard. This one, sort of like a beard. Is this a big kitty? 4 new Nazca lines are identified by artificial intelligence. Well, I don't know about that. Yeah. Anyway, they're cool, man. People made all of them, yeah.
Let alone a device that was accurate enough to ensure this kind of precision.
It's crazy that you don't think someone can have this kind of precision. Like, we did this before GPS. Not everything just... He is mystified by people being able to do stuff he can't do. These two are not even, by the way. These aren't perfect. Like, this isn't even symmetrical. It's like, it looks really cool, but if you look at it, it's not perfect. Like, this is wonky. It's not straight. Like, it's just cool.
And I think
your brain definitely provides more symmetry than there actually is there.
That because the average person didn't have access to GPS back then, nobody really considered that the militaries of the world would have had access to some form of global positioning in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that people, just regulars, can't make crop circles and you need the government to make it. Look at this crop circle, proof of alien. Oh wait, no, that's a corn maze. Unless... Wow. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I assure you that plenty of technologies that we take for granted today were available to the militaries since the beginning of the computer age.
Oliver's Castle, Wiltshire, 1989.
There's a couple of lights down there somewhere.
This controversial film appears to show strange objects hovering above a cornfield. Below, complex circle formations appear.
They appear?
Crop circles are not aliens. There is no such thing as aliens. I know that a lot of you think that aliens, for some reason, are drawing designs in the wheat to communicate with us. And that's fine. I'm not saying you're stupid for believing that, but you're wrong. However, for some...
Here's the thing, though. You're not wrong for the reason you think you're wrong. You're wrong for a very different reason.
The vast majority of the global community of crop circle researchers are pretty convinced that crop circles are created by aliens.
It's always been people.
And they come from a very high level.
He's gonna
of
say government though,
consciousness.
man.
Absolutely sure for myself, based on my own personal experience, that we are dealing with a genuine phenomena that involves paranormal intervention.
Probably extraterrestrial species that is working with human consciousness.
And it seems to me the
So
most
dumb.
sane way of dealing with this is to accept that
Didn't he believe in aliens 2 months ago? Who knows?
this is a demonstration of a level
Aliens
of
don't
intelligence
exist.
and compassion towards us.
I mean, I agree with him that aliens have not visited this planet. Like, that's not possible. Fermi paradox is probably true only because we don't timeline match up, because like we have only been spacefaring for like fucking 50 years and not even well. You know what I mean? Like the blip in time that 50 years is in the universe is so crazy. Like,
Which is pulling us up.
Why does everyone think this? I will admit that crop circles are very impressive. They often depict fundamental mathematical.
there's life out in the universe 100%. Aliens exist in the universe. There are definitely aliens elsewhere. Visiting here, like UFO aliens, no, we've never. That's not going to happen. It would be insane. It's never happened before. If it did happen, we would know it's happening. Yeah. There's just no proof of it whatsoever. But I mean, even beyond that, it's just simply not like a feasible feat. Can't say for sure. I can, for the same reason I don't believe in God. No. There are definitely extraterrestrial. I mean, there's non-Earthlings in the universe for sure. That's a mathematical fact. There's just no way right now there are life forms that would be complex enough for us to consider that full ass aliens. But Doctor Who doesn't exist now. Earthlings.
Or geometrical principles. Whoever it is that's
The Prothean
designed
ruins. You guys just want to fuck Garrus. That's what you guys want to do. You guys want aliens so you guys can fuck Garrus. Each one of you can just admit it right now.
these things is genuinely a mathematical artist. There's a crop circle depicting pi and binary. There's a crop circle depicting Euler's identity in ASCII code. Whoa. There's a crop circle depicting the Doppler effect. Cool. There are crop circles depicting different angles of a toroid. There are crop circles depicting our planets orbiting the sun in our solar system. Cool. And yes, there are even crop circles depicting aliens. Yeah. Crop circles can be broken down into different design categories even. There are so many different kinds of crop circle, I wouldn't even be able to name them all in this video. Obviously, there are clubs of people who make crop circles for fun.
There's some characters behind me. What were they up to last night?
Crop circles.
Oh, Alan, well done. Crop circles. And they admitted that they've been responsible for almost all the crop circles. They used to be on the news every summer. There'd be aerial shots, and there were people who call themselves seriologists who genuinely believed that these were the work of people from outer space or from magnetic forces from ley lines or all kinds of nonsense.
Over the years, lots of people have come forward claiming to be responsible for hundreds of these things.
Yeah. We don't say how many we make, but we've made hundreds over the years that we've been doing it.
All complex formations are made by people. Some of them are inspired by something other than human intelligence, but I don't think that any of the flattening of the corn is done by anything but stomping boards.
But there is simply no way that these hobbyists could have hoaxed every single one of these crop circles. That's impossible.
Why? Like these guys specifically, sure, but like, did you know there's like billions of people? Did you guys know that?
They're lying to us.
Are there still those who refuse to believe that it's all hoaxes like you?
Absolutely. Well, they've been ringing your production office, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right.
This modern era of crop circles may have begun in the late 1970s, but crop circles have been reported for hundreds of years.
Yeah, man.
And there's always been an air of mystery to them, often associated
people,
with the devil or Satanism. On August
Satanism.
22nd, 1678, it was reported that a devil circle appeared in a farm field in Hertfordshire, England, just north of London. According to the legend,
it's interesting. Wow. So crop circles have been a thing in the UK for a super long time. And there's still people that do it to this day. Yeah, there's no interesting behaviors there. It must be the government Satanists.
The farmer had apparently insulted his neighbor, who he usually hires to mow his field, by claiming that it would be better if the devil would do it. That night, witnesses claimed to have seen a bizarre type of fire that nobody had ever seen before, and they found a round patch of farmland that had been mowed down. The people of Hertfordshire believed that it was the devil himself that mowed that crop. But that's kind of different from the crop circles that we see today. The grass or the stalks are not mowed. In fact, they're not even snapped over. The stalks are all uniformly warped or burnt, leaving them at a 90-degree angle. And it also leaves the crop still attached to the stalk in immaculate condition. Amateur crop circles are found all the time. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but there's a distinct difference between the types of crop circles that Satanists, hobbyists, and pranksters make, stomping the grass down with wood, and the high-quality crop circles that the crop circle community believes are being made by aliens.
The high-quality crop circles. I failed to anticipate the high-quality crop circleists. Must be the government. Specifically the Illuminati, maybe? Maybe they're I don't know. What would they're telling us the science stuff but to keep Satanism going or something?
First of all, most of these designs are far too large and complex for a handful of people to be able to make with some 2x4s and some string in the dark of night.
No, man.
It's not impossible that a group of people could pull this off from time to time, but the thing is that the larger and more complex these designs get, the more likely it is that somebody's going to make a mistake or get caught using whatever that special technology it is that they use to bend the stalks over. Yet
It's not technology. They're just stepping on them with a board. Have you been in a field? Have you seen it bends? It's fibrous. It's a plant. It doesn't just snap like a fucking twig. I don't understand this. They're plants.
Year after year, hundreds more crop circles show up without a single mistake, and no eyewitnesses ever observed this technology.
Have you ever stood in a tall wheat field, man? These are all over your head. Like, you could drive past someone making a crop circle. I grew up in farm towns. You could drive past and someone could be in the middle of the field doing a crop circle. You do it broad daylight. You'd never even you could park in the fucking woods and do it.
In fact, with the evidence found at these crop circle sites, it seems very unlikely that the crews making these crop circles are even on the ground at all. It's crazy enough to think that a crop circle hundreds of meters across could just pop up overnight. Like,
is that a Nazi one? Am I nuts? Is that a Nazi crop circle right there?
But that problem is exacerbated when you realize that some of these crop circles were reported as showing up as quickly as 15 minutes. That's happened more than just a couple of times. There's a multitude of crop circles that have shown up in a confusingly short period of time. But more importantly, the technique of stomping grass down with two...
Could I get stomping? Like, this isn't showing this guy in this recolorized fucking 60s one? Like, this is just like, why is there a Nazi alien? No, they're not aliens. They're the government. Like, you can literally see this just bending over and not snapping right there.
2x4s does not explain what researchers are finding at these crop circle sites. When you stomp down grass, straw, or stalks with a 2x4, there will be mechanical damage at non-uniform heights. Mechanical damage means stretching, snapping, breaking, crushing. Physical force was applied to the grass, so the grass had to break to take its new shape. But that's not what we're seeing at these more complex crop circle sites. The grass has no signs of mechanical damage at all. Instead, the crops have been curled over to their 90-degree angle with some kind of internal expansion or growth. Some of them even look exploded or burnt. Something internally has happened to these stalks. Something...
No, man, they've been bent over and then continued to be living plants. You know? And then dealt with that. And it kept growing because they were bent.
Physically changed them from the inside. And because the warping of the stalk seems to be happening at a uniform level, there's no other damage to the crop. The rest of it's in immaculate condition. But when hoaxers or Satanists make their crop circles, they're stomping it down with wood, so they're damaging the entire crop. And
nah, man. So you take wider boards and you can have multiple people go through them. You can also put boards on each feet, and it's sort of like it displaces your weight. And also the people that are good at it do it at the same height. I mean, it's just a thing you can do. Did you not grow up in the country, man? How many crop circle believers are city folk? Yeah, it seems to me that the people that believe in crop circles maybe grew up in town. Proof aliens exist. I could bend my arm. That's right. Ellie! Hello, Queen! Why don't you jump up on here?
And the bend isn't happening at a uniform level. On the more alien crop circles, nothing even sheds off. I hate ancient aliens, but one time they hired a group of hoaxers to recreate a specific crop circle that was found in a specific crop of flowers, and these hoaxers perfectly demonstrated the issue.
While the recreation of the Golden Ball Hill Formation looks very similar to the original from the air, what made the formation truly unique was not how it appeared from above, but how it appeared on the ground. None of the flower heads on the original 2005 Golden Ball Hill Formation were damaged or destroyed, and the seamless lay of flowers suggests that it was not mechanically produced using boards and shuffling over the stalks.
Riddle me this. How long did these flowers on the left sit there before someone found them? Because plants do be growing, you know? Let the flowers grow for a minute and it'll look very similar, man. Yeah.
So whoever...
You ever seen what happens when you leave a crop circle alone? Probably not, because you didn't grow up in the country. They'll start to fucking bloom again, man. They're plants. They're alive.
It is that's creating these crop circles apparently is able to set...
Dude, it's like traveling around his face. I can't stop looking at
their
it.
device to a specific height above the soil, and only the lower part of the crop that's intersecting with that focal point is affected. And because they're using some form of technology, these more complex crop circles have cleaner edges and curves. Sometimes you can even tell from the air when you're looking at a hoaxer because they did it so sloppy. There's an eerie uniformity to these more alien-looking crop circles. They're too perfect. It has like an uncanny effect. Sure, you could say that there's no way that a human could make a crop circle this perfect, but maybe a computer can. Then there's the magnetic iron pellets that have shown up at a vast multitude of these crop circle sites.
Tiny little spherules of magnetic iron. And it's not only their presence which is of interest.
Tiny spherules of magnetic iron. I wonder if there's ever any of that kind of shit in fertilizer and other types of machinery and stuff that goes into the production of crops nowadays.
It's the manner in which they're distributed, frequently around the periphery of these circles, sometimes distributed linearly, indicating a delivery system that's fairly sophisticated.
Bog iron?
This is one of those...
What is bog? Oh, you mean just iron that happens to come out of the bog? Form of impure iron deposit, yeah.
details that usually gets buried under the reports for these crop circles. You'll almost never hear the media talk about the magnetic iron pellets. For some reason, you can't even really find much about it online. So something about the process...
For some reason, you can't find this specific claim online. That's interesting. Might use RC drones with cameras. So it's crazy that you can't find a source to make any of this sound true.
Of creating these crop circles not only draws iron to those sites, but it also magnetizes it. Kinda sounds like an electromagnetic...
He does this... Look at this fucking pose. He always does... He like... I hate it. Hate it.
But it also magnetizes it. Kinda sounds like an electromagnetic process, doesn't it?
No. It doesn't... Anytime he can say the words electromagnetism, he gets mystified.
Electronics often go...
Oh, look. Fire up the kitty camera. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What you licking over there? Hell yeah. Didn't know that was happening. Got more intimate than I imagined it was going to get. We'll just zoom back out. I didn't realize you were doing that. Yikes. Not that you can see her anyway. She's will you stop? What are you licking? What is that? It's your leg. It's not even a gross thing. It's the outside of your leg. You don't have to be looking at me. You don't have to be such a goof. All right. She's cute, dude. What a rat. All right. So you guys get better views of Ellie.
Wrong in crop circles. Some people will describe a strange tingling, headaches, or feeling rather ill.
Electromagnetic fields are often experienced at these crop circle sites, usually interfering with cameras and sound equipment. This usually manifested as sound interference that some people in the media came to call the crop circle sparrow.
Did you actually hear any noises or see any lights? Because our findings would come up with what we call an electronic sparrow.
Because of the mysterious and unique features of these complex crop circles.
Those are complex crop circles? Complex.
Sparrow.
Because...
Look at that. Me and the boys making a fucking squiggly line and a squiggly line and sort of a squiggly line. Complex. Just don't feel like I could do that. I don't feel like I can make a wobbly circle. Me either, man. Can't do it.
Because of the mysterious and unique features of these complex crop circles, avid enthusiasts can easily tell the difference between a hoax crop circle and the real thing, and they'll even get pretty angry about it.
Exactly, it's been trampled to death, and vital evidence.
And I just want to point out how illogical the official story is that we're told in the media, that hoaxers make these things secretly in the night. But then why would they come out?
They don't always have to be secretly doing them in the night. Have you been out? Unless someone's paying attention to you, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted in fields. Do you know how many people just do stuff in fields? Like, running away into a field is like a classic trope. Like, come on, man. A lot of these crops are taller than people. You'd have to be up in the air to see it. They're not next to roads and shit. Oh, man. I don't know how you think it... And especially if you just do it after the workday, before the sun goes down, like when no one's out in the field because they've been there since the morning. Hello? Fucking in the cornfield. People fuck in the corn. I've never fucked it in a cornfield. That sounds awful. The ground is so hard in cornfields.
And tell us that they did it. That defeats the purpose. Like, this is what I'm talking about. These crop circle clubs apparently go out to these fields in the middle of the night, secretly, without any eyewitnesses ever seeing this. And they're able to make it home at the end of the night without anyone any the wiser. But then they go on the news and tell the whole world that it was them that did it.
Some of them do. Like, there's been like 2 or 3 groups. Not all of them.
Why? They want it both ways. They want to be secret and anonymous and mysterious, but then they also want to be world famous for doing it. It makes no sense. Why claim ownership to these things? Especially when you can't even explain how they're made. But that's kind of my problem, is we only really see those two options in the media. It's either aliens trying to communicate
thanks, Red.
With us, or it's hoaxers using 2x4s. Or Satanists. But it's very Project Blue Booky.
Project Blue Booky? It's not Project Blue Booky. Erg. Everything is part of your conspiracy theory. Greg. Come on, man.
Me of the way that Project Blue Book operated around things like the Mothman and stuff like that in the 1960s. First, the media comes out and gets ahead of it by claiming it's some sort of a monster or an alien.
The media gets ahead of it. You think this small town newspaper was like, nah, we're not going to talk about the fucking Mothman? Like, you think the government called them and was like, you got to run this Mothman story immediately. That's the cover we're going with. Cute Mothman.
It has the juice?
Then the military shows up afterwards and says, no, it's actually this rare bird that doesn't usually come here. Both options seem to satisfy two different groups, the skeptics and the believers, but neither option really gives us the truth. And this also kind of reminds me of the cattle mutilation riddle. I think that there's a reason why so many of these paranormal events so closely resemble satanic rituals. It's kind of like they've adopted an existing ritual, but updated it with modern technology.
Greg, you're not going to stop it. You're not going to say this is satanic. Come on. There's a riddle. Yes. The riddle is, why don't I know why crop circles? Or in that case, I guess, cow mutilations. But this is the crop circle riddle. Solved. He's solving it. He thinks satanic rituals are real. Yes. We're doing satanic rituals now. Go. This man is unhinged. Come play the cattle mutilation riddle. Arrange the vertebrae back together and avoid getting too covered. Ooh, nice. That's definitely the way to do it. Yes.
And maybe they came up with this elaborate story about aliens to cover up the truth about what they're doing. And then for the normies, you put up a bunch of beer drinkers with 2x4s and say that they're responsible for all the crop circles across the world. Bullshit. If you want to see these crop circles as a form of communication, well, the communication that they're using is really sketchy. People want to believe so badly that it's aliens communicating with us because they're using math. And math is a universal language. But I argue that the creators of these crop circles are not teaching us anything or giving us a unique perspective of the universe. And ultimately, they're using our math. They're speaking our languages. There's nothing alien about the way they're communicating at all.
Our math circles. Well, I feel like circles happen. Very human-centric. I agree that a lot of this is anthrocentric in general, to assume that someone's trying to communicate with us as if we would go to another planet and just start making art. We'd do Banksy's. Banksying their fucking crops. We come in peace? Huh? Vandalizing your crops? It's not satanic. It's the stupid, and Greg wouldn't believe such stupid things. It's actually a red man ritual to counteract the return of the green man. I mean, that might be the same thing, though.
I mean, if it's aliens using math, then they should be using alien math. You know? Do you remember that movie with Jodie Foster? Do you remember how the aliens taught the humans a new type of math? It was like a base 9 math, and it was meant to be displayed in a 3-dimensional format or something like that. That's what it's like to talk to aliens.
No, man. What? Math is math, yeah. Base 9 math. I mean, that would just be a different way to conceptualize. I mean, think about it. 10 is easy for us if it wasn't. I mean, base 9 math isn't something humans can't do. No, you can't do base 9 math. Nope. You can't do it.
Their form of communication would appear alien. I think it's pretty obvious that it's a trap to get caught up trying to decipher what the designs in the crop circles are trying to communicate to us. If it were really aliens trying to communicate with us, they could do it in
Hex is base 16? That was well, I'm seeing base 15 and 16. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. But in the Jodie Foster movie, yeah, Jodie Foster, a great actress.
In a much more direct way, showing us reimagined designs of our own mathematical principles tells us nothing. In that way, I think that the crop circles say nothing to us. They've just got us chasing our tails here. The crop circle depicting the
Humans made the movie? Right.
alien's face is the perfect example of what I'm trying to say here. It included a binary design that has an English message.
Yeah.
If the aliens wanted to say things to us, they could just keep doing that, because that's very clear communication. This proves that whoever is making these crop circles knows how to talk to us.
Why don't you just say people? This proves people. You know, it's obviously a person.
I don't think the real message is what the designs are trying to depict. I think the real message here is how the crop circles were even made in the first place. The people wielding this technology are showing it off and gloating about it. Just waiting for one of us to figure out what they're doing. In a way, the crop circles are kind of a test.
I hope you have a fantastic day.
Did you hear that? See, Cow as Knitting was too busy subscribing immediately for Tesla Coil. Thank you very much. This video could be like 30 minutes shorter. It's not, though.
In a way, the crop circles are kind of a test.
They're just not. They're just not that. They are patterns that people wanted to make in this fields. Jesus Christ.
Or rather, they were a test.
They weren't.
But we failed. When I first got into this riddle, I thought to myself, maybe we aren't asking the right...
He's calling them riddles instead of conspiracies. It's just a euphemism. Crop circle riddle solved. When I first got into this riddle, I mean, yeah.
Questions about crop circles. Maybe we should be asking questions like, why do the vast majority of crop circles appear around the greater London, England area?
Because it's a cultural thing.
Why do we see so many repeating symbols like eyes inside of a grid or checkered pattern?
Because it's the same artist.
Go. Or shapes like hexagons, hexagrams,
yeah, same artist,
and cubes. Or this Egyptian-looking imagery, pyramids and beetles.
Yeah, man.
And crescent moons. Why are there so many electromagnetic phenomenon, like the magnetic iron pellets or the
that you couldn't corroborate, you just heard on one source and couldn't find anywhere else? Greg.
magnetic field? Why do people so often describe seeing UFOs flying around crop circle sites? And most importantly, how are they doing it? What technology are they employing to create these perfect, immaculate, clean, crisp crop circle lines?
Electromagnetic drones. That's my guess. That's how it works. Mini UFOs.
How?
And math.
How are they doing it in such a way that it doesn't harm the crop? And how, in God's name, are they doing it so quickly? I've heard more than a few theories about how this is happening.
How I figured it out.
but I was never really satisfied with anyone's conclusions. But you have to remember that just like every other mystery that I've dissected over the years, this is just a magic trick. And magic is all about misdirection. It was really ironic how I ended up figuring this out, because it was
misdirection. It was ironic how I figured this out. Dude, he's so smart.
While I was reading Linda Moulton Howe's book, a book where she tries to convince us that it's aliens, I was literally sitting on the floor of my apartment, my internet was down, and my phone was out of data, so I had no way to Google anything. And even the way that Linda herself lays out the details of the findings and contextualizes the timeline for the series of events.
There was no way for me to Google anything. It's so weird that he had to add this so that you're like, hey, also, off the top of the dome, baby. Didn't even do any research for this one. I just thought about this answer. That's how you know it's right.
It could not possibly be more obvious that it's one of our own militaries that's doing this. Linda describes all the same bizarre phenomenon associated with crop circles in much greater detail than I did, like the strange growths or burn marks at the pivot point where the crop bent, or the
It's in that picture, I see some destroyed crops right behind it.
growths or burn marks at the pivot point where the crop bent,
right
or
there.
the magnetic iron pellets found on the ground, even wind vortexes that are detected around these crop circles. That's something I didn't mention.
You could use the term wind vortex to describe what's going on inside his brain.
Before
I heard a surprising sound. One afternoon I was in a field when I heard a multi-dimensional sound in the sky. Two friends were with me at the time and heard it too. Like
Are the friends here? That's weird.
Cloud speakers turning in the air with varying volumes and frequencies. A sound impossible for me to explain.
All the air was vibrating in my face, and it was like, bloody hell. And this is on a windy hilltop. I was well awake, and it was like an object of some kind that was invisible, but thumping like a loud heartbeat.
Invisible and thumping? I believe him. So as someone who's growing crops, the stalks are strong and will bend like that if run over. They're essentially bred to do that so they can survive wind and be harvested by a combine. Right. Yeah, they're hardy. Impossible to record.
It must have been like this far from my face, and it was like standing in front of like a hi-fi speaker, you know, like in a club or something. What is that? And it moved around me like 180 degrees from front to back, and then stopped and just blinked out, and that was it.
But more importantly, and the strangest detail of the book, is for some reason she lays out a timeline of events leading up to 9/11, and she postulates that the aliens were trying to communicate something to us leading up to that tragedy.
Does he think the UFOs were going to tell us about 9/11 ahead of time?
And there was something about hearing about crop circles in that specific context that broke my brain open about them. When I look at those weird bends in the grass, the amorphous growths, and I connect that to what happened on that terrible day, it made it all make sense. Immediately.
Osama bin Laden did crop circles. That makes sense.
I knew exactly what I was looking at. This is done using microwave radiation.
All right, hold on, back up. We were just talking about we were just talking about 9/11. So what's the microwave radiation have to do with that? Oh, it's the steel beams, isn't it? It's the steel beams. Okay, so now we're invoking 9/11 on that terrible day. All right.
Somebody would have had to have used a directed energy device.
Why? Did you test this? Do you have some reason to believe so?
Cold fusion is kind of hard to explain, but using direct...
But I understand cold fusion, though.
Directed microwave energy, you can create a frequency of electromagnetic radiation that affects the molecular bonds of different materials. Here is a multitude of examples of what it looks like when you perform cold fusion on different kinds of metal. Dr. Stephen E. Jones was one of the first people to ever discover cold fusion in the late 80s.
You're going to say that crop circles are a product of cold fusion? Seems like a lot of resources for crop circle.
Back in 2007, he published a paper where he suggested a connection between cold fusion and what happened on 9/11. And he has since been chased out of his field and completely discredited. But Dr. Jones said that cold fusion was always controversial, and he was regularly told not to talk about it. But without realizing it, I had seen the effects of cold fusion before I had even heard about it back in...
Oh my god.
The 80s and 90s. Decades ago, there were a few different media pieces on John Hutchison, an absolutely mad scientist who created a home laboratory in his apartment with insane electrical equipment. John was never a scholar. He never managed to gain any credentials, and John himself admitted that he was never really sure exactly what was going on. So his experiments were never really taken seriously by the scientific community. But John would regularly perform experiments on all sorts of materials and obtain extremely unique results. The one that caught my eye when I was a child were his anti-gravity experiments. John would get all sorts of different things made of different material to float: wrenches, pliers, cannonballs. He even got paint to fall upwards out of its container.
Using only 75 watts of energy, enough for a small light bulb, Hutchison made a 60-pound cannonball rise off the table. It would also fuse dissimilar materials, heat metal but not burn the wood it sat on, shatter metal, as well as change its crystalline structure. This was something to write home about.
We colloquially refer to these results as the Hutchison effect.
All right, let's look up the Hutchison effect. The phenomenon jointly under the name of the Hutchison effect, including levitation of heavy objects, fusion, anomalous heating of metals without burning adjacent. Northern Mysteries. It's just a TV episode.
I'm Tim Ventura, and in today's presentation, we'll be analyzing footage of the Hutchison effect, examining a collection of equipment and materials photos taken during trips to John's lab in New Westminster, British Columbia.
Wow, this guy's really fucking official. Okay. It's just a bunch.
In terms of wattage, John runs all sorts of different things. I believe he runs stuff that's all the way down from 50 watts up to several thousand watts. That's one of the material samples, the knife in the wood in the block. That's another material sample.
Dude, they're taking it
so what I'm going to do is
too.
After this video, I'm going to dig into these material samples a little bit more.
This is so interesting. These guys talking about
that was tinfoil. I think that was ice. I'm not sure. Broom handle. That is a solid steel ingot. If I remember right, that's actually part of an axle that they tested it on.
Propane tank.
So again, a lot of this footage was shot by George Hathaway. I think John...
Anyway, this is very interesting. I don't know what these guys... John has demonstrated the levitation heavy items, wrenches, cannonball. Film footage that will show you... Aluminum. Damn. I don't even know. Do these guys believe it? I don't even know. Anyway, that's a fascinating subset. One guy who filmed stuff, no other proof. I came in. Yeah, it seems sussy. So specifically, the way that footage looks seems pretty weird. What I would like to see is this be reproduced.
His experiments on metals were the most fascinating of them all. John would manage to
cold fusion. Cold fusion is fusion reaction at like room temperature, which is not possible apparently. At least not with the materials that we have.
Metal to act like paper or like Play-Doh, using only electromagnetic radiation. Do you see the way that the metal is
I'm
flaking
too quiet
here,
again?
like layers of...
All right, chat. How do I turn up my baseline? It turned down again, dude. It goes down again. I don't know why. Why won't it just stay? Allow. No, this is deselected. Fuck. All right.
Of wood?
Why won't it just stay, bro? It's not a USB mic. It's an XLR mic.
Or here, it's been stretched out like chewing gum. The craziest one is where John managed to turn steel into powder. This is cold fusion. All of this, these are the effects of cold fusion. John also managed
I'm
to
skeptical as fuck.
bend pipes extremely clean.
Rice.
There are no cracks, there are no kinks, there are no folds, there's no stretching. It looks like the pipe was made this way. Hell, some of the crop circles that we've seen are bent this clean. John...
Yeah, can I see anybody else doing this? He's a fraud. Canadian self-proclaimed inventors who claims to have discovered and probably forgotten the secrets of levitation, free energy, and how to make certain metals vanish. He also claims to work for a U.S. military while living in Vancouver, Canada. Hutchison also runs a blog, Waiting on the Edge of Forever. Blog contains scans of documents which supposedly support his claims, but like literally, this is ice cream. He said it was paint. When asked why he is unable to demonstrate the results of his experiment anymore, Hutchison claims he has been coerced and had his work destroyed by the government, which then used his technology to do 9/11. Does he just believe in the Hutchison guy? Wowzers, dude. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. He's a fraud. Excellent. But that's just what the people want you to believe. He can't reproduce any of this stuff. You know what I think? I think he filmed it upside down. What if he just 2001 a space you know. What if he just did it upside down, dude?
John's workspace was always a complete mess.
Oh,
he had
Gerd.
multiple different electrical devices, and he was doing everything analog. He didn't have any computers helping him with any of his experiments, meaning he could never remember exactly what the settings were for everything. But John essentially proved that you could erase...
He did all this, but he never wrote down. He didn't log his fucking experiment. People making sourdough log it harder and more rigorously than this scientist. Amazing. Quite convenient. How is he falling for this? Why does he present the worst evidence so dishonestly? I don't know why Greg does this. I have no idea. There's no reason for Greg to believe this.
Metal by turning it into powder. And if you had a computer that could remember the setting, essentially you'd be able to erase two metal from the top down at free fall speed. I don't know why that specific detail was important. As these crops...
Dude, it's like the spacesuit thing. One Google search to debunk, right? And now he's saying cold fusion brought down the 9/11 towers. They ran planes into them, and then they did cold fusion. Everyone, I essentially built a magic do-anything machine, but the government destroyed my notes and then left me alive, and I never made a backup. Oh, but they left my machine intact, and no, you cannot look at it.
Circles have demonstrated, whoever it is that's used...
How is he a skeptic? Change your name to Armored Believer.
this directed energy device is able to pick the exact level, the exact altitude to set their device. So that's essentially what's happening with these crop circles, is that somebody's microwaving them with a directed energy device.
Yeah, you look blasted. You look fucked up in this. Like from your own brain farts. Just huffing them. Just change the name to Gurg.
Somebody's putting a mathematical design into their little design program and then hitting the cold fusion button, and then
they're just simply pressing the cold fusion button.
The directed energy device is essentially 3D printing that into the crop.
Yeah, man.
That's why they're so perfect, because it's literally a computer doing it.
Where's the apparatus that does this? What apparatus provides the cold fusion? Is it a fucking saucer? A cold fusion saucer? Crop circle machines? That's right. Harp. Oh no.
That's why they're so perfect, is because it's literally a computer doing it.
It's the satellite lasers. Bet you weren't expecting 9/11 truth bombs in a fucking crop circle video. Get fucked, liberals. True. Greg's energy?
Fucking magnets. How do they work?
No, he knows a lot how they work, okay? You don't understand. He knows it.
And you can imagine in the 1980s and even in the 90s, it would be hard to imagine that. I feel like I mostly understand what's going on, but one thing I haven't figured out is exactly how the device is informing the bend of the crop, how exactly it's telling the crop to choose which way to fold so that it makes exactly the right shape. But
wow.
That's exactly how Linda's book worked it out. Like, all of the crop circles in 2001 were leading up to 9/11, and suddenly that made total sense. She was right. There were crop circles that really were leading up to 9/11.
What? Yeah, I mean, there were crop circles prior to 9/11 and post. What a weird guy. Absolutely a weird guy. Wow, there's some uncommon in chat. Ridiculous.
The largest and most impressive crop circle that was ever created appeared on the night of my birthday.
The largest and most impressive crop circle ever created was on the day of your birth. I just fucking can't deal with you, man. I can't actually fucking... Greg, how can you be so fucking self-centered?
That was leading up to 9/11. The largest and most...
I wanted to hear this. Dr. Gamble, one of those was fucking Space Invaders. Is this Space Invader? I don't know.
Props.
That looks like a face. And this one is Space Invaders? Yeah, this is Space Invaders, right?
Circles that really were leading up to 9/11. The largest and most impressive crop circle that was ever created appeared on the night of my birthday, August 11th, and was discovered in the morning of August 12th.
Is it a horsey?
All right, look. August 11th, and was...
All right. I think now is a good time to finally address the horse in the room and address the Vosh stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
Was discovered in the morning of August 12th, 2001.
This is the coolest one, huh?
Exactly 1 month before September 11th.
Damn,
this crop circle always stuck out to me because I always remembered it as my birthday crop circle.
I always remembered it as my birthday crop circle. Aww. Wow.
Linda Moulton Howe suggested that this crop circle and all the others leading up to it were somehow a message, either desperately trying to reach out to humanity, or perhaps it existed as some form of warning.
So, check this out. What happened? These stalks right here, and these on the edge, you know, that didn't get caught up. Just unaffected by, like, all these stragglers, unaffected by the microwave UFO beams. Why didn't they just cold fuse? Yeah. Didn't they cold fusion this? Are you telling me this is resistant to cold fusion?
Reach out to humanity, or perhaps it existed as some form of warning.
Consider me skeptical.
This was their way of showing off their fancy directed energy device before its big debut on 9/11.
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. This is so stupid, Greg. They're rubbing in our faces right before 9/11. You're Canadian. You don't get to fucking be upset about 9/11, okay? Not nearly as upset. All right? Relax. That's ours.
Think about it. They laid out this big, flashy, complicated design in August of 2001. So big and impressive that it should have gained a lot of public attention. There should have been a public outcry to try to figure out what this thing was.
No.
How are people making giant crop circles so quickly? But even though this was in...
What? How? I feel like you could do this in a few hours if you had done crop circles before. Like, this is... After 20 years of making crop circles, I can make a bunch of little crop circles in a little thing. Yeah.
In the news, it didn't really create any public demand to figure out how these crop circles are being made. The world moved on and had already forgotten about it by September. Typical. This giant crop circle was their final Hail Mary attempt to see if anyone could figure out what was happening before they used it in New York.
Hail Mary attempt? That doesn't make sense, Greg. Oh, if nobody knows what we're doing, then I guess we're going to be forced to 9/11. What? Why? This doesn't make any sense. Why don't people have the logical processes necessary to draw a cogent narrative around these types of things? Like, just think about it for a little bit.
If anyone was ever going to...
He doesn't think it's sus that it's the same farm over and over? No, apparently not.
Figure out how they're making these crop circles, it would have been when they made the most impressive one ever. This should have...
Okay, so here's the thing. Do you think if I went to look for who made this crop circle and then watching that video with them...
stopped the world dead, but nobody cared. But here's the worst part. A year later, in the summer of 2002, that's when the famous alien face crop circle appeared.
Cool.
The one that had the message in binary. The binary message reads, "Beware the bearers of false gifts and broken promises. Much pain, but still time. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing." Let's hope they're telling the truth about opposing deception. Again, this crop circle should have been considered an absolute marvel. Again, there was no public outcry to figure out how these crop circles are being made.
No one cares because it's fellas. It's folks. I bet they live here. Rosebud, 1896. Holy shit. Orson? Is that you? Is it an Orson Welles in the house?
Again, nobody made the connection to the events in September the year before. So, in hindsight, now that we know who's creating these
Rosebud 1896 is Orson Welles' Twitter password.
Crop circles, it's pretty obvious that the alien face is designed to mock us.
Designed to mock... It's an alien picture. It's a picture of an alien. And they mowed this. Didn't they mow this? I don't know. It looks silly.
The creators are gloating that they got away with it. And
yeah, the 9/11 guys went to fucking Glastonbury or whatever and made a fucking alien face instead of the Twin Towers with like Master Chief teabagging them in 2002, right?
The entire time they had us talking about aliens and fairy magic. They're mocking us. This is mocking us.
How is this mocking us? Bro, your brain's fucked. This is... Someone made a picture of an office building. Is this the Matrix office doors? With the key guy? Could be anything. The Riddler.
And they did it using blatant satanic imagery the entire time.
Satanic. I agree that offices are satanic. Look at this. Fucking, you can see the lights. You can hear them buzzing. Satanic, obviously, when you make, whatever that is. Pyramids, Satan. Hate a pyramid.
And where is this cold fusion device? Where do they keep it? It's up there. It's up there, guys. And that's how they're able to do it all around the world. And apparently, they've had it up there since the late 70s or 80s.
Beautiful and intriguing crop circles. Over 240 were discovered last year, but there's still no satisfactory explanation. Well, the mystery has sent ripples even to the highest corridors of power. We discovered that a former
satellite
Chancellor and Secretary of
He doesn't think the moon is a weapon.
State for Defense
Secret moon base?
himself had a close encounter with a crop circle.
This British member of parliament is one of the first people
to keep it under Hunter Biden's
to ever talk about it on television.
I saw this extraordinary large circle with spokes radiating to 4 smaller circles. I'd never seen anything like it before, so I rushed home, got my camera, and I took photographs of it. Of course, ever since then, I've been fascinated to hear that it's been occurring in many parts of the country, and not always in the same form as the circles which I photographed, and there seems to be no explanation, rational or otherwise.
No explanation, rational or otherwise, for a British man like me. I couldn't possibly understand why someone would want to stomp art into a perfectly good crop. To stomp an art piece? Disgusting. No worldly idea, Martha. He's got evil wizard brows? He does.
When the crop circle phenomenon was really starting to be published by the media.
Now, this was quite a while ago you saw these.
This was in the early August 1984.
And even back then, they wanted you to think that it was aliens instead of the military.
You used to be at the MOD. Could some secret military activity be the cause? I mean, people have come up with ideas of high-flying plane with radar, high-power radio transmitters buried in the earth. Is there something we don't know about that you can tell us?
No, I don't think there is, honestly. I mean, obviously people have wondered about flying saucers and wondered, for example, if a spacecraft could have come down. If I knew, of course, I wouldn't tell you. But I don't, in fact, know of any secret activity which could be responsible for this.
But that kind of leaves a question unanswered. If they're able to make these crop circles all around the world, why do we find most of them around London in England?
I have a great suggestion. This is just a little Occam's razor for you. Because they're the people doing them most. It's clearly a cultural thing. They have James Bond supervillain weapon orbiting the planet, and they use it for printing ASCIIR. What? Yes.
Well, I think that...
Do you say... Is it ASCII? Do you say ASCII? Do you guys pronounce it? I don't know. I'm not a coder. Do you guys just actually pronounce that? Or do you... Yeah. ASCII. Fucking coders, dude. Nerds.
The answer to that is connected to their motivation to make the crop circles in the first place. They were testing us. They wanted to see if somebody could figure out how they're doing it before they use it on something big.
Why? What, Greg? Hey, man. What? Hey, buddy. What? What are you saying? Hey, what are you saying, man? What, man? I need to understand this. who's. So if you just would have been fucking smarter earlier, you would have prevented 9/11. Is what you're saying? You'd have been like, excuse me. Those crop circles are cold fusion crop circles, and then a guy in, I don't know, the CIA is like, fuck! Call off 9/11! For real, we've been working on that! No, call it off! It's over. It's fucking over, dude! This guy, who we planned this entire conspiracy around, he actually figured the whole thing out. Was it the Canadian guy? Yeah, we did it on his birthday, and he figured it out, man. Yeah, we did the cool one. Well, luckily, cold fusion 9/11. Yep. If only he would have had this earlier, we could have prevented 9/11. Lasers powerful enough to blast the planet from space, delicate enough to bend just plants just a little bit. Yes. That's right.
The whole point is that we need access to them. Well, in England, they have something called the right to cross, or the right to pass. It's an old right dating back to before roads were a normal thing that allowed people to use farmland as a pathway. Technically, people do not legally have access to farmland in England, but on those specific pathways, people are technically allowed to cross on them. And because of this, there's more of a culture of farmers allowing the public onto their farmland, especially now that the crop circles have become such a popular phenomenon. I don't think in Canada, and not very much in the United States, farmers would be that happy about letting the general public just have access to their property.
I've had farmers shoot at me.
Even if something supernatural happened. But if you notice, most of these crop circles intersect multiple pathways.
What's fascinating about this one is that these didn't get cold fusion. This grass, immune to cold fusion. It's pretty wild.
In these crops. It seems like the public would always...
You know what's crazy? The immunity to cold fusion that some of these other places. This is not a very straight circle at all times. It's pretty sad.
Essentially have access to these crop circles every time they pop up in England. The general public would very easily be able to cross these pathways in order to access these crop circles. They wanted us to study them.
Yeah. On the one hand, you have all of these crop circles in Great Britain happen at crossroads where people walk. And on the other hand, we have the people that plotted 9/11 who are using crop circles as a secret messaging system to hope someone stops their own 9/11 plot. They're using a microwave radiation gun that causes cold fusion in crops to bend them but not break them a little bit. And they observed British cross rite of passing field law from the ancient times, from the 1600s, in like fucking Magna Carta, so that people would look at them. Those are the two options. People, or all of the other stuff I just said. You know, it's all so clear. It's just an elaborate riddle. You're right. Wouldn't you just use the cold fusion weapon in the towers then? No. You hit them with planes so that you can then secretly use the cold fusion weapon without anyone noticing. Now you get it.
They wanted us to figure them out. That's the whole point of bookending September 11th with the two most impressive crop circles ever.
Those are the two most impressive. I mean, this one isn't even fucking close to impressive to me. You know? This one is like kind of lame, to be totally honest. This one's way cooler. I like birthday crop circle.
Again, if anyone was ever going to figure it out, it was going to be when these two designs popped up. But this is also why they chased those scientists that essentially discovered cold fusion out of their fields. They didn't even...
There was one scientist who did hoaxes that can't be corroborated that claimed cold fusion, buddy. The binary part is the only slightly impressive part, but it's, you know, I mean, you can go fucking type in binary code on the internet and you'll figure it out. And just know binary, have a book on binary.
Want us to know that cold fusion existed. They didn't even want us to know it was possible, let alone the effects of cold fusion on plant matter and metal. They don't want us thinking cold fusion whenever we see supernatural events or abnormal anomalies in the news. Instead, they want you to think that cold fusion is just their attempt to create electricity by creating a plasma donut like a bunch of idiots. So remember, people would report seeing orbs of light, UFOs floating.
We need a QR code crop circle, and it just links to a timestamp of this video where he calls his birthday crop circle the most impressive crop circle.
Around these crop circles, as well as those magnetic iron pellets on the ground. Well, microwave radiation...
The magnetic iron pellets that you could find no information on that you've mentioned several times. You found a claim of magnetic pellets and no corroboration, and you've been running with this the whole time. It is crazy how you source this kind of shit. Goatsy crop circle? Ooh, nice.
Perfectly explains both of those phenomenon. First of all, send an electrical current through iron and you will magnetize it. So clearly the directed device is either drawing that iron out of the ground or pushing it down out of the atmosphere, and it's becoming magnetic in the process. And just like I explained in my Foo Fighters video, if you send radiation, specifically microwave radiation, through aluminum, like radar chaff, well, you create a Foo Fighter. This was a regular phenomenon seen in World War II because they were just pumping out raw radar energy.
Foo Fighter. This one, let's give one to Jess Panacea. There goes my hero. I actually like Foo Fighters a lot. This one, thanks so much. Appreciate it. A little momentum?
Without really any understanding of what it was going to do. Oh, and before I go, I found one funny little thing while I was writing the script for this video. I googled the term microwave and crop circle, and this is what I got. Apparently, in August of 2011, this 200-foot crop circle design of an alien smoking a pipe popped up in England, only a few hundred meters away from the largest crop circle ever.
Whoa.
You know, the giant one I call my birthday crop circle.
Whoa, the one I call my birthday crop circle? Fucking dork. These are trace amounts of iron. How would that bend anything?
The media admits that this was most likely created using microwaves.
You think... You think the pipe smoking alien?
Smoking blunts was a daily routine since 13.
Right.
I was a fat kid smoking weed too.
You're right.
It appears as if the media is now...
Fuck everybody.
Since 13. I was a fat kid smoking weed too.
All right, Greg, here's some binary for you. 0101101010101110111011101. And I fucked it up.
Now gearing towards trying to get us to believe that crop circle hoaxers, like the beer-drinking idiots in England, are using microwaves and GPS to hoax their crop circles. Isn't that funny? Not only that, but there are a bunch of articles suggesting that crop circle hoaxers might be starting to become high-tech. There's
000000100000011. Yeah.
There's a lot more acknowledgement in the media today about how perfect the lines and the bends are on modern crop circles.
That's right. It's weird how modern crop circles got better. Hey, Greg, thank you so much for being bad at science. I appreciate you. I like watching your videos. We're going to go celebrate a booty party. if you want to come join us at the booty party, hey, YouTube channel. I never say this. Join the Twitch channel. You stayed through this whole video. Come to the Twitch channel because we're about to go party. I love your faces. That's the end of the video.